In this video, I'm gonna share with you how you can progress faster in street lifting if you're facing problems with progressing or you feeling stuck with your progression. And if you do everything that I will say in this video, you could add up to 15 kgs for free in your total and progress faster. So the first thing that we have here, technique. Technique is probably one of the most important things when it comes to strength sport or other sports for you to have the best progression and the best performance. By improving or fixing your technique, you could add an extra 5 to 10 kgs to your lift, mainly the squats. The squats, if you fix your form or you find a form that works the best for you, you could add up to 15 kgs for free in a matter of weeks, 2 weeks, just by fixing your form. Fixing your technique should be your focus before worrying about adding more and more weight. Good technique equals less chance of getting injured and faster progress. A big importance of fixing your technique is that it prevents you from getting injured. And if you don't get injured, you progress. And the more you stay in the game, the more you train, the stronger you will get eventually. The secret for you to be as strong as possible or to have a world-class strength is to be injury-free. So now let's analyze the techniques of the muscle up, the pull up, and the dips. I'm not gonna share squats here because I made a whole video on the squats, and I'll leave the link down here or here around the screen. So the first exercise that we have here is the muscle ups. And let's start here with the hands. The hands are very important when it comes to the muscle up. The grip is one of the most important things when it comes to the muscle up, because if your grip sucks, you're probably not going to lift as much weight or you will not get over the bar. Having an overhand grip is the most efficient. And also I'm talking about competition standards. An overhand grip is basically this. You have the bar and you want to put your knuckles here above the bar. Your knuckles have to be facing upwards. A normal grip would be like this, like a pull-up grip. This grip can also be helpful with the pull-up, the overhand grip. The problem with having a normal grip on the muscle ups is that you'll have to force the rotation, and this could take you a couple kgs off the lift, and also could cause some issues here in the wrist. So fix your grip. Then secondly, your arms. You want your arms to be straight. Oh, that line was not straight at all. You want your arms to be straight. I'm talking about competition standard. If you start with a slightly bent arm, it's okay if it's training form or you're not competing or you don't have the goal to compete. You could do that. And also, having a bent elbow could be more helpful for you to carry more weight because of the stretch reflex. So, arms straight. Then here, the core. You want to engage the core. You don't want to flex so hard that you start doing this. You want to engage it to make this area tight and the whole body tight. Also, you want your legs to be straight. This is very important for you to create a tension from toe to the head for you to have the best muscle up. So you lift the box and you want to keep your legs straight. No bend. If you bend, it's not valid. And the reason you want to keep your legs straight and with tension is for the weight not to be balancing to go from one side to the other. Because the more you move your legs, the weight will move. Where do you pull? Usually the best time to pull is when the bar is around eye level or here in the nose level. That's probably the best time to pull. And you always want to keep the tension here in the core and in the body. You want to keep as much tension as possible from toe to the head. A straight line, basically. And how do you place the the weight? Well, there's athletes that do the weight between the legs and they do this, and there's Perry Cole that puts in the front. And putting the weight in the front for the long run is probably the best for you to carry as much weight possible. It is more advantageous because will happen this. When you are in this part, you will kick the weight. You will put force in this direction. And when you have the weights in between your legs, you cannot put as much force. And by doing this, by kicking the weight here without bending your knees, it's important, knees straight, you're kicking the weight, it will help you have a better transition. Because by applying force here and you're doing like this, you're applying force here, it will help you do this. I hope you understood that. It would be better if I was doing that to show you, but I hope you get it. And then you do the transition. How do you place your arms? Like if you should place it here or closer, it will depend on you. Some people go wider, some people go closer. It depends on you. But the most important things here are the grip, keeping your core tight, your legs tight, your glute, you have to engage it so you can keep your legs straight. You cannot bend your knees, and kick the weight is like cheating. It's like you're cheating, but it will be helpful. It's like doing a low bar squat. It's helpful. It's like cheating. It will help you carry the most weight possible because you're using a lot of your posterior chain compared to a high bar that you're using more of your quads. Here, and from another position, Perry Cole does something great that is keeping this straight. This is hard to do. You want to engage your core so this can happen, to be straight as possible, and then here as straight as possible, so you can have the cleanest muscle up. And then the final position here, like I said, you want to keep your legs straight and you want to kind of kick it, and this will help you get over the bar with more ease. And now another example of muscle ups. We have here Oban. I picked the two best muscle uppers right now, and they have similar numbers, but their technique is different. This is like the French muscle up because they do basically a no swing muscle up. They do the muscle up basically in a dead stop, and they do it literally below the bar. It lifts the bar and it goes to this position. He keeps it here tight. He has the legs tight and he pulls. This muscle up I think is way harder than the other, but the technique is basically the same. The only thing here that changes is that Oban curves his lower back. It's not because one is better than the other. Actually, you have to try it to see which is best for you. Here it looks like he's going to do a pull-up, but he's doing a muscle up. He keeps his leg straight, which is needed, and he's applying a lot of force here. He's basically kicking the weight, like I said, and he pulls with a super explosive power, and he kicks the weight. So basically he does this and this. His back curves, and then he goes straight right back up. It's like doing this. You can have here another position. You can see more clearly. His back is curved, and then he activates his glute. He applies a lot of force here in his glute and his legs, and he kicks the weight. Basically, he applies a lot of force here so he can keep the legs straight. As you can see here, the legs were here, and then he kicked the weight. He applied force here, and he went up, and his back got straight again. As I said, it was a curve here, and he shoot the weight to the front, and then he moved his back to a neutral position, and then it's just the transition. He goes over the bar and does the transition. I'm not sharing the lockout part because that's the easiest part, and if you're watching this, you probably can do it. And now we have the pull-ups. Also, I'm sharing here Oban. So in the pull-ups, strong grip, essential for a good pull-up. Arms straight, as always. You want to squeeze the weights with your legs straight. And on the pulling phase, doing this slight bend, it's helpful for you to do a lockout instead of doing a pull-up straight. This is a more powerful position for the pull-up. And as I said, he's like he was doing a pull-up when he was doing a muscle-up. He basically starts the same. He keeps his leg straight. You have a bit of a tilt here, but it's normal in the hip, but it keeps the weight with a lot of pressure. And then he does this kick again, using your hips to kick the weight to the front is helpful for you to carry as much weight as possible on the pull-up. It's the same thing as I said before, a low back squat and a high bar squat. Legs go to the front, is kicking the weight while putting as much pressure as possible, and then he locks out. Now, the dips. Here we have the beast himself, the strongest dipper ever, Matthew's Lath. So, the first thing you have to see here is your grip. Grip is important in all the movements. You want to have a strong grip and stable grip. You don't want your grip to be like this or too much of like this. You want to keep it as neutral and as strong as possible for you to have the most stability and produce the most strength. More stability equals more production of force. Arms have to be straight. Probably you cannot bend his elbows that much, but you want to keep your elbows as straight as possible when you enter the dip. You want to engage your core a lot, and you want to do a protraction on the shoulders like this. You want to do this on your shoulders. This will help you be more protected and be in a more powerful position to carry as much weight as possible, and also protect your chest. Because if you're doing like a bodybuilding style dip, it will be dangerous. You could snap something here. Because on the bodybuilding style, they stretch everything like this. On the StreetLifting dip, you close your body, you do this, and then you go up. And this is what you should do. Arms straight, powerful grip, and you enter, okay? Your legs have to be straight. You enter the position. You have to put a lot of pressure here while keeping your legs straight, glute engaged, core engaged. Arms have to be stable, cannot be shaking. Close your chest and do the dip. As you can see here, is not overstretching his chest because it could be dangerous. As you can see here, legs are still straight. You dip, you have to be below 9 degrees. Your rear delts have to be below your elbow, the last bit of your elbow, to be a valid dip. And then you go back up, try to make this as straight as possible and strong as possible, keep the pressure. The problem with a lot of beginner street lifters and also my clients is that when they're doing a big weight or after they're getting tired, they tend to let go of the weight and start pushing. This is a bad habit that most people develop, or when they're getting into the street lifting, they do it. You have to keep this as tight as possible so you can be the most powerful. Legs straight, glutes engaged, and then go up. Now, the second point here is variations. Variations of the main lifts are helpful to strengthen weak links and make the movement more solid and feel easier. This could be posi dips, locket pull-ups, pin pull-ups, pin dips, a pause in the middle, 10 lockout. There's a lot of variations that you could do. These variations will help you get better at the movement, have more domination in the movement, make it feel easier and make it more solid. Implementing them in your program can be a game changer, but you have to know when to implement it. the right volume, and so on. If you get to a point where you don't see your pull-ups progressing, implementing one of these can help you. For example, lock-it chin-ups. I did it for 30 something weeks and my lockout got stronger and my pull-ups got stronger. When you're seeing that you're not progressing anymore week by week or every 2 weeks with adding weight, switching things up a bit, adding these variations could help you break through plateaus. And then secondary movements. This I think is a bit of a controversy. There's a lot of people that don't like to do the secondary movements. In the beginning, I was like, I don't need secondary movements. But then when I did the street building program, I implemented secondary movements and I saw that it helped me a lot. Secondary movements can be very helpful boosting your main movements, strengthen not only your 1 rep max, but also your 3 to 10 rep maxes. And the stronger your 3 to 10 rep maxes are, your 1 rep max will be stronger too. Important, you have to know what is that you need and what is best for you. Copying other athletes may not give you the best results. There's a lot of people that do things just because Pericol, Orban, Baki, all of these guys are doing. But it should not be like this. There's some things that you must have in mind before choosing a secondary movement. How is it going to help me? Why this exercise? And your leverages. For example, you have 2 exercises, lat pullovers and rows. You say, okay, lat pullovers will train a lot of my lat, will train this motion, which is good for the muscle ups, okay. For the pull-ups, will help me have a more explosive pull-up, stronger pull-up. I can engage my lats more. And rows, it will work my lats and also my upper back, which can be good for the lockout. And the lockout, you engage your upper back, your traps a bit more. You have to do these questions and see, well, what you should choose and what is your deficiency so you can pick the right one. If your problem is the muscle ups, probably doing lat pullovers could be best. And you basically have to know why you're doing something. And then your leverages. This is very neglected. I don't see much people talking about this. How your leverages can play a role. For example, me, I have long arms, and when I do dips, I feel mostly my shoulders and a bit of my chest and almost nothing on my triceps. And I asked my friend this question, what do you feel when you're doing dips? He said, I only feel triceps. And has short arms. And I believe this plays a role in your exercise selection. For me, maybe doing overhead presses or shoulder presses, working a lot on my shoulders, could help me tons with my dip. I'm gonna do this experiment after the competition. I'm trying to get my overhead press at least 10 kgs more and see how it affects my dips. And probably my friend getting his triceps super strong would blow up his dip. So knowing your leverages and picking the right exercises could be very helpful. So that was it for this video. And if you apply these things, you could add up to 15 kgs to your lifts. The muscle up, the pull up, the dip, and the back squat. By fixing these little things, you could add up to 5 kgs on the muscle up to 5 kgs on the pull up, 5 to 10 kgs on the dip, 10 to 15 kgs on the squat. So guys, I hope you learned something with this video and see y'all in the next one.